Good evening, keepers of the cash. Gary V, the casual comic guy here. Tonight, I am happy and honored to be joined by Kenny Caps from Caps on Comics. Kenny, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm Kenny Caps. It's nice to meet you.
So, this is a great community. I've been doing more of these interviews. I love getting to know people. And just for a little bit of history, I found your channel completely by the YouTube gods putting you in front of me. And I think it was because I was watching Jerry the Jitterbug and Angelo the
Yeah,
Comic Guy. So I think it kind of put you in as a good suggested content because you were one of those golden age collectors as
yeah.
well.
hmm
And so I was lucky and I found you. And since then, just been watching. Oh, here we go. Jerry the Jitterbug, how you doing,
Hey,
sir?
Jerry.
Thank you for showing up. We're about to get going here. I told Kenny not to sweat it, so he's doing his best chilling over there. But um, I've been looking forward to this all week since you agreed to it, and
hmm
we're gonna have some fun. And by all means, direct all your friends and family to this after we shoot it. It'll be
Sure.
up on the channel.
Absolutely.
Have them leave a comment and a thumbs up. It helps out the channel.
Absolutely.
And we'll start going here in just a second. So the thing I want to really ask you first, and this is going to be a question that's inspired by my buddy Jimmy over at Small Town Collectibles, because
Okay.
I'm gonna like incorporate shout outs into my questions too.
All right.
Gotta keep it advanced, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what or who inspired you to start your own channel?
It's embarrassing, but I'm going to say Cookie Swirl C. Now, I don't know if you know who that is. I don't know if you have children
No
or anything.
idea.
All right. So, my daughter, she's 7 now, but when she was 5 2 summers ago, she was obsessed with Cookie Swirl C. And all she is she's this woman who takes toys, opens them, and then plays with them. And she really likes LOL surprise dolls. And so my daughter watched all these shows, and she's got like 20 million subscribers. She's one of the highest ones up there, along with like Ryan's World, and like my kids watch this all the time. So my daughter wanted to start her own YouTube channel. She, I helped her start it, and I learned how to download the content, edit it, make like signs and posters and thumbnails and all that stuff just for her channel. And then we wound up uploading a whole bunch, and she's got like 20 subscribers, but she's still a little too young to understand everything, but she
Right.
had so much fun with it. And then I I kind of became a monster with it. Like I was like, if you want to be famous, this is what you have to do. And my wife stepped in and she's like, you got to calm down. And just so it just kind of faded back from that, and so um that's the first part of it. That's where it all germinated from. Other than that, like I've built this awesome collection over the last few years. And one, I don't have a lot of friends that are interested in comic books. The ones that are interested in comic books live on the other side of the country, people I've met in the military. And then the other thing is the quarantine, no one is coming to our house. And so
Right.
I wanted to talk to someone about comic books. I wanted to show people, hey, I've built this collection and I want to share with it. And so that's why all of my videos have comic books that I own. I'm not talking about the market. Is the next bubble going to pop? Is this the 90s bubble again? That's interesting and stuff, but that's just not what my show's about.
Right, and I'm the same way with my channel. I don't talk about that. One, I think there's enough other channels that do it
Yeah.
and do it better than I would do it. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it. There's no sense in me doing it. And I
Mhm.
kind of started out the same way, getting into YouTube because my kid, you and I both know our kids grow up on YouTube. My kid's 10, right? And it's watching this person, watching that person, and they want to have their own channel someday. Well, I'm like, well, then I better learn all I can about this so I
Yeah.
can be the best guide. Not thinking I would ever keep doing this or it become a hobby or I'd meet all the fantastic people that I met. What we got here, Caps? That really is a nice wall. Oh, it is. But
Thank you.
so similar thing. This is and this became my peace of mind. I made two great friends with Jimmy and Jason, and we
Yeah.
just have a blast. But so, how long have you been collecting comics? We'll go to the next question.
Okay. So I have my first period and then my second period, right? I'll call B, W, and AW. All right. So BW was the before wife. I collected as a kid, I collect. So I was born in 1980. I'm 41. I collected all through the 80s, and I got really into it with the death of Superman. That was like a national event.
Yeah, I
And
remember it.
yeah, so like after Superman got brought back, I remember like kind of slowing down because like that plus some comic books having like four variant covers, it was just too much. And then I discovered women, and that was so much better than comic books to me. So comic books kind of went to the wayside for a while. And then the AW, I met my wife, and so afterward, I didn't have to worry about looking cool. So then I got back in. I went home one time, and my mom was like, "Why don't you take those old comic books home?" So I did, and I had some that were like from the '70s. So I decided, hey, let's fill out some of those holes, and then that wound up leading me to, well, let's look at some of the older ones, and then I slowly got into Silver Age comic books, and it just kind of took on a life of its own from there.
And it's funny because, like most of us, as we've gone through life, man, we've been in, we've been out, we've been in, we've been back out, we've been back in again, and that's just the course of life, right? You're
Yeah.
in and out of all sorts of things as you're growing.
Hmm.
And I think another thing most of us have in common in this community is we all got great wives. We all got good supporters. We all are with people that allow us to be who we are.
Yeah.
And with my wife and I, she's big into Pokemon, Harry Potter. And it was funny because our first purchase together when we got together was a PlayStation 2,
Oh, that's cool.
right? And we bought it so we could play the Buffy the Vampire Slayer game. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I think having that spouse that you have the easy relationship with, that
Yeah.
it's neither one of you expect the other to be anything that you're not, is really important, especially if
Well,
you're a collector of anything.
yeah. Like my wife's not a collector.
Nice.
So this shirt is a Father's Day present. She knows that this is the bat symbol, but like she
Right.
doesn't know it's Jim Lee's bat symbol. So I mean, she gets some of it, and that's good enough for me.
Same here. My wife knows some of it, and others she goes, "Hey, they're talking about this at work. Who's this guy?" I'm like, "Oh, that's blah 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 blah." Like today, she brought home something. Who's this? I'm like, "Oh, that's Snake Eyes." Okay, from what? From GI Joe.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get to question 3. Now, you once told me that you were running your channel in secret. What was the reason for the secrecy?
Okay. So I explained this to my wife like a little over a week ago when I came out of the comic book closet. So I have 3 kids. My youngest is 10 months old. All right. So, and I couldn't agree more, slide up. So, yes, my youngest is 10 months old, and she does not sleep unless she is being held. And it's been very tough to have an infant during the quarantine. But anyway, so like she will only sleep if she's been held. So my wife has to hold her to get her to sleep at night. You put her in the crib, she stays in maybe 30, maybe 45 minutes. So my other 2 kids are asleep. My wife's asleep with the baby. And so like I was left like, what am I gonna do? I have nothing to do.
Right? How do you
And
fill the time?
yeah, and I can't play guitar because that's too loud, and so I started this YouTube channel, like I said, just to kind of to show, meet some people and stuff. And then it got to where like every time I would try to tell her about the show, something would happen with our 10-month-old. It's like she's not sleeping, she's crazy, and we would be just sleep deprived and just kind of angry with each other, And so like we'd explain like I was always afraid that my YouTube channel was going to be like the basis for like, that's why you hadn't unloaded the dishwasher this morning. So it's that plus at the same time, so I'm a stay-at-home dad. I've been a stay-at-home dad for 7 years, and I'm also working on my PhD at the same time. So I I'm in this part of the program where I'm just right up to the point where I'm about to start working on my dissertation, and my dissertation will be on comic books too. So at this point, I'm studying for my comprehensive exams, so I have to read a book a day. I have to go in, I have to determine the argument, I have to find some really good points about this book so that I can relate it to other books. And right now I'm studying 20th century. So with that, plus the newborn, the PhD program, it's just a lot of stuff that I just didn't feel like I could explain having a YouTube channel. So when I hit 75 subscribers, I told my wife, I'm like, look, I just want to let you know, I got a YouTube channel. Well, then she's like, well, that's great. Why didn't you tell me before? Because
Right.
like it goes right along with your PhD. This goes with your dissertation, and maybe be able to use this as like a way of network in the future.
All right, nice launcher point. All right, so now that you've opened up about having a channel, has it become more fun for you to run it?
Yeah, it's definitely more fun. My daughter is very jealous of me because she asked me how many subscribers I had, and at the time it was under 100, and she got upset about it, and I'm like, well, it's okay, you'll get there, But other than
Right.
that, it is definitely more fun to have something to explain because my kids do like comic book characters and they're interested in comics too. So to see me on TV, because even when we were on YouTube, I was still trying to hide the videos. They couldn't see them, and once they know now, that I've started. Some information I got from Dank Comics. He's awesome too, by the way.
Yes, I
Um,
am subscribed.
yeah. He had like an episode. It was like 3 things to do to get your subscribers up, and one of them was thumbnails. The other one was Instagram, which I did that too. But so thumbnails, I started putting my face on like Reggie Collects. He's got this bold red background, and he's doing stuff with his hands. Like, look at me, I've got all these subscribers. So that was a good thing, is to be able to put my likeness on my thumbnails.
I would, but it scares people.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So, tell us about the creation of your wall of comics, which is absolutely incredible, by the way.
Thank you. Okay, so my fortune is the product of a little misfortune. My wife's grandfather was excellent with money, and when he passed away, he left his 2 remaining sons a buttload of money. And so my father-in-law is also incredibly good with money. He does a lot of investments and stuff like that. And I had purchased from this comic book company in like Missouri, and they were having a massive sale. I bought a whole bunch of Spider-Man comics at like 75% off. And so I was telling him about that, and he's like, well, that's really good. If you had money to invest in something, what would you invest in? And I said, well, the first thing I would do is get an Amazing Fantasy 15. Because at this point, this was 2010, and I had been watching the values of Amazing Fantasy 15. That's the first appearance of Spider-Man. I'd
Oh, yeah.
watched consistent rise. The Tales of Suspense 39, first appearance of Iron Man, it was also going up because of the MCU movie. And in that movie itself was just making all these comic books go up. So I said, if I had the money, that's what I would do. So boom, he's like, here's a check. I can give you this much. It's tax free up to a certain amount, and we'll see what happens with it. So I go out and I buy my first AF-15, and I spent $8,000 on it. I took it to Baltimore Comic Con that September, so it was like 4 months later. I sold it for $9,000, so I immediately made $1,000 profit just like that. I took that money, I gave my father-in-law the $1,000 profit, and took that $8,000 and invested it back into another AF-15. And I just kept flipping comic books until I paid him off, and then I started building up my own money. So once I got enough money, I got an AF-15 for myself, and then it just basically happened from there.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's a great answer. But you have a lot of different comics on that wall besides an AF-15.
I haven't hit 100 yet. I think I'm at like 91.
So I want to know two things.
Hmm.
What's the oldest book in your collection, and what's your favorite book in your collection?
Okay, that's a good question. My oldest book is the first appearance of the Shield, and that's in Pep Comics #1, and that came out in January 1940. So this is pre-World War II. It's not as old as Superman, but it's definitely the oldest one I have, and I got that one at a bargain. I think only because it's restored.
Right,
I like that one because I love Captain America so much, and Pep Comics sued Timely because in Captain America #1, his shield is like triangular, and so
right.
they sued him because the shield's chest is triangular. They're like, this is too much the same. So I like that, and I think my favorite comic book. I don't know. There's so many I love. It's probably my Hulk 181 because I grew up loving Wolverine. That's
Oh.
just a book that everybody wants. I don't care who you are. Everybody wants a Hulk 181. And I love Wolverine. He's so awesome. So that's probably my favorite.
Good Canadian guy.
Yeah.
All right, so what's your favorite era of comics, and why is it your favorite era?
Okay. Um, that's another great question. I would have to say probably the Silver Age, just because I've always leaned more toward Marvel growing up as a kid because Superman was just too perfect, and he was flying around, unstoppable, saving kittens in trees. Where
Yeah, my
Cyclops,
buddy Jason would agree with you.
like Cyclops was all upset because like Jean Grey was, flirting with Wolverine, and so all the Marvel characters had their problems, and that
Yeah,
all originated.
relationships and
Yeah, I mean, well, so that all originated in the Silver Age. All these great Marvel characters introduced, they have problems. They are dealing with real life stuff. The fact that it's all set in New York City instead of Gotham City, Metropolis, Coast City,
right,
Central.
it's all real world places.
Yeah, exactly. And that was always very appealing to me. And as I've gotten more into my study of history, the Cold War era just incredibly fascinates me. That's one of the biggest impacts of World War II is the Cold War. You know, and the fact that it changed our society as far as like issues with gender and society and race and sexuality and all that stuff is just really embraced in Silver Age comic books. It's a very fascinating era.
Okay, so before you continue with that, it leads. See, my questions have a purpose because my next
Okay.
question is a great thing about your channel is the history you include when talking about your comics. Now, how important is the tie between comics and history to you, and how does it enhance your collection and enjoyment of collecting?
All right. Man, these are really great questions. All right. So I look at this wall. My hands are always the wrong place. This is a museum to me. You can look at these comic books and you can look at the dates and you can say, well, I know that this event happened around this time, and I know that this happened as a result of that, and so that's always been very interesting to me. It's like looking at a photo album in a way.
It
Um,
is, and the contents and how they're written inside is kind of a like a dissertation of that period.
exactly. And while like my books that I had growing up, I've only got two on this wall because most of the stuff is too old. But it's my like War Machine getting his armor. Like I remember the day I got that. And I've got my Secret Wars like #6. It's the first appearance of Julia Carpenter. That's a great book. I remember buying that.
It is. Julia Carpenter is one of my favorites.
Yeah, one of these days I'm going to do an episode on the evolution of Spider-Man and all his derivatives because he's just so popular. You just have to have more of.
Right.
There's going to be
And
one.
I regret getting rid of. I used to have those when I was a kid, and I regret not having my Secret Wars 8. And not even for the black suit, for Julia Carpenter, because I've been a Spider Woman fan since Jessica Drew. and
Mm-hmm.
I like Julia Carpenter. I love that 4-issue miniseries they put out of her. It was really good back in the
Yeah.
day. Fun, but I'm with you. So, what do you consider your biggest struggles and wins of starting your channel?
The biggest struggles.
Yep, and biggest win.
All right. So the biggest struggles in starting the channel is it's not so much the time to shoot the videos. Editing was always trouble. Like, when do I get the time to edit? That was a struggle. And then basically building a viewership. It took me like a month and a half just to get up to like 12 subscribers. And I don't know, when I hit 10 subscribers, like, this is it. This is as good as it's going to get, you know?
I had
And
the same mentality. I'm like, ooh, 10 people want to watch me?
I know, right? And so like I know I have like 12 subscribers, and then I all of a sudden one day I've got this messages like Gary B sent me, Gary B sent me, and I'm like, well, who the hell is Gary B? So no one told me who Gary B was. It's like Carmen San Diego. I've got to go on an adventure and find out who this is. So I YouTube Gary B.
Find out he's nobody.
So I found this mystery channel. I'm like, all right, who is this mystery guy? So I started going through, and then there was ones like shouting. I'm like, well, that could be it. Let me dig through this video. And sure enough, my name pops up. It was crazy. So, but yeah, so thank you for that. The biggest wins for my channel so far, I have a video that's at 1,400 views.
That's
It's the
incredible.
top 10 of the Bronze Age. And I don't know why that one took off. I have a bunch that's in the 600 and 700 views, but for some reason that one is almost at 1,500 views. So that's incredible. Like,
It is. I've never hit 1,000 on anything I've done.
yeah, and I compare myself to all you other guys out there, and like Dank Comics, he's got one that's at 1,000, another one that was almost there. And then like DJ Links, man, he's like the Superman of all of us, right? He's got over 1,000, and I'm watching his subscriber count go up all the time. And he's got some really good videos too, So
Absolutely.
I may only have 100 subscribers right now, but it's really cool to have a video that's hit, well, at this point, 1,400 views.
Yeah, well, you were at 111 when we got on, so you're still rising there, buddy. You know, you're not going to have a cap. So to go along with what you would say is to go along with that, and this is going to be a question that's inspired by Nick over at Nick's Kicks and Comics, just like I have inspired by
I love
Dana.
the thumbnails.
Right. So what is the biggest up and biggest down in your entire time of collecting comics?
All right, the biggest up in collecting comics was probably the sale of my first AF-15. I haven't really told you that story. I said that I was at Baltimore at Comic-Con, and I had shopped it around to all these different booths. And one guy offered me 8,500, and then this other guy, I don't remember what shop he was from, but he said, I'll do 9. I'm like, okay, I'll sell it for 9. And then this guy walked up with this big-ass checkbook, and he's like, hey, Vincent, will you cut him a check? You know I'm good for it. And he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. So he just opens this big checkbook, $9,000, hands the check to me. And I said, how am I supposed to trust you with this check? And the guy said, that's Vincent Zerzolo. He owns Comic Connect and Metropolis Comics. He's like one of the most richest people in this building right now. So it was a total leap of faith to walk out of that Coliseum with a $1,000 check.
Sweating the whole time, huh?
Yeah, but then it's like, then I watched like the PBS superhero show, and Vincent Zerzolo's right there at the beginning of that episode, and he's got like his Action Comics #1, and he's like, this could only be bought for like 10 cents in the 30s. Isn't that incredible? And he puts it in the safe and rolls it and walks off. I'm like, holy crap, I just met that guy. So that was really cool.
And he signed a piece of paper that he handed to you.
Yes. My biggest low in comic booking is also AF-15 related. So I'm pro CGC when it comes to slabbing, but I did have my rebellious period because CGC slabs are so much more expensive than PGX, CBCS, and all that other stuff. it's so much faster to go with PGX, and it's a whole lot
Mm.
less inexpensive. The problem is that I bought an Amazing Fantasy 15 for about $10,000, and it was PGX slabbed. I sold it at an auction and I only got 8,000 for it, so I was out of the hole like $1,500. And then on top of that, it was an eBay selling, so then I had to pay 10% on that. So I wound up losing like another $800. So I got took for a little over 2,000, but I learned a lesson and just to stay with CGC.
Right.
And so,
And well, I think you're going to see CGC making some afternoon. I think you're going to see CGC making some changes though too, because CBCS has really come up.
yeah,
Hey, Mike. And what I like about the CBCS slabs is they have UV protection, which it absolutely dumbfounds me that CGC slabs don't offer UV protection.
yeah, I heard you talking about that last night. And so
It's crazy.
my room, this my man cave here, it is completely sunless, and so that's why I do this. Had I a window or even just a crack of sunlight, these bad boys would be in a box somewhere. But no, so my man cave is an offshoot of this spare bedroom in the basement, and it's hidden behind a sliding bookcase. So
Right.
no, but yes, I totally agree. If CGC offered UV protection on their slabs, that would be an amazing option.
I think they're going to have to do that because CBCS is coming up fast. I will not do anything with PGX ever. I've never seen anything good. I bought a Conan book that was in a PGX slab and I stole it for $26. I took it to the presser. I said, "You break it out of that case, you press it, you clean it, we're sending it to CGC."
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to the next one. So, what have comics meant to you personally in your life?
Okay. That's a fun question. Um, as a kid, it was awesome to see superheroes just being awesome. Being able to save people and to look awesome. I was a fat boy as a kid. I'm still overweight now, but hey, I'm in my 40s, so I don't care so much.
I was a fat boy most of my life.
So as a kid, seeing like Captain America, he was awesome, and Superman, they were always, superheroes always in great shape and stuff. And I always loved art. Art was a big thing for me, and so I would just sit and draw all the time as a kid, draw comic book covers, and I loved that. And so I think of comic books, it was a way to escape. Like I hated to go to school as a kid, and so I would just sit and noodle and just draw all the time. And it was just, I don't have a horrible sob story about, a broken family or anything like that. I had a great childhood, so there's not a lot of darkness there. But comic books were just a really great source of entertainment. I wanted my comic books over TV. I hated to read as a kid, and I learned I was paid a quarter per comic book to read as a kid. So I have fond memories there.
Nice, yeah, a lot of good attachments.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's awesome. Anything as an adult similar, like experiences that helped you out and got you through just being a comic collector?
No, not nothing really. And I hate that I don't have a better, more entertaining answer there. It's
Boy,
just
that answer was great.
my answer for now is that it's the thrill of the hunt. I have my list. My wall has only superheroes. I haven't delved into the villains yet because if I did that, I would need a 6,000 square foot storage shed. Just look at the rogues gallery of Spider-Man. Look at
Oh,
Batman.
right.
I mean that's a little crazy. So this wall is primarily focused just on the good guys.
Well,
Um,
and that leads
so,
me right into the next question:
all
Is
right,
what is there a grail that Kenny Caps is still chasing?
I'll never get it. It's Action Comics #1. I don't see that ever happening. Um, and that's what like I would love to sit and talk to an expert. Like I know a lot, I've read a lot, but there's still more to learn, and I know that like there's a way to crack into like the golden age segment, and so like I have thought about liquidating this entire collection, which I figure I've got about $80,000 worth of comic books, and investing that in one really good golden age comic book. But I'm still not going to get an amazing. I've said it so many times. In Action Comics #1, those things are selling at $1 million easily.
Right.
I just don't see that happening.
And usually you see those are in an estate sale somewhere.
Yeah, and that wouldn't happen. I'd have to have a horseshoe like around my neck or something in order for something like that to happen.
So, what kind of content can subscribers look forward to coming up on Caps on Comics?
All right, I got some good stuff coming up, Gary. So, the next episode that comes out will be the part 3 on my Golden Age comic book back covers. Then after that, I've got a video on Barbarians. That one's for you, Gary.
Awesome.
I've got one on the evolution of the Green Lantern Corps. I've done another video. So the first video I ever did was just my collection, and it's grown a lot since then. And I've redone my wall. I used to have a Star Wars collection over there. I had to take it down and move it. I moved my superpowers too. So like just to dedicate that whole wall to just the comic books. And so I've shot another video for that. And instead of like my first video, it's just music and a panning camera. This time I actually stop each one like, this is the first appearance of Black Panther. This is the first appearance of the Silver Surfer. This is the first appearance of yada, yada, yada. After that, I have, I'm going to do another 3-part series on the first appearances of the Avengers. So I've got a whole bunch of stuff. And tomorrow I will be doing my first interview with Sam McCandless. He's the drummer from Cold. I'm going to be introducing him to hopefully all of these great subscribers out there. He's created his own comic book series, and I want to get his work out to the masses. So lots of great stuff coming up.
Nice. So I already did a question that was inspired by Small Town Collectibles.
Okay.
I did a question that was inspired by Nick's Kicks and Comics. That way I could work in some shout outs for my buddies.
Okay.
This last question is a shout out for Jason over at Slotted Up 503. And
all right.
He's a big music guy.
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite band, and what do you listen to the most?
Oh, man, that is the hardest question yet, because I love music. I've been playing guitar, oh, God, like 25 years. And so I've been listening to a lot of Faith No More lately, but I love, so like I said, Cold, they're one of my favorite bands. I'm interviewing Sam tomorrow. He's the guy that did their logo. I love all the new metal stuff, Saliva, Flaw, like all these bands are like, but I love the classics: Led Zeppelin, Aerosmith, Ozzy, Black Sabbath, hair metal. I love hair metal. I like 80s pop. I will listen to anything, anytime, anywhere. I play jazz. Like I just love it all. So that is definitely the heart. Hendrix is probably my favorite. Like if you go into I have a music room with my guitars and stuff, and I got this big picture of Hendrix. So probably Hendrix. I don't know. That's a tough question. I can't come up with a better answer though.
Well, that's a good answer. So to wrap this up, and this is what I call the shameless plug and shout out section.
Okay.
Is there anything about your channel that you specifically want to plug or get a message out to the audience that's going to be viewing this content? And are there any other shout outs in the community that you want to bring to people's attention?
All right. I'll start off with where you ended. And I feel like if I did not mention someone, I would be doing them a disservice, because there are really some really great people out there. I know we've already mentioned Jason from Slide It Up, and DJ Links. They're awesome. And thank you so much again for the Grow Together community. Nick's Kicks and Comics, I watch his stuff. He's awesome. Dank Comics, that's another great channel. Jerry the Jitterbug, man. I love Jerry the Jitterbug. Jerry's
awesome. And that dude, he has great instructional videos.
I'm telling you, the fact that he will take apart like a first appearance of Adam Warlock. He's taking that thing and dipping it in a mystery fluid. I'm like, Jesus, Jerry, you are ballsy, and there's no way.
And
Because
that
like
Fantastic Four too. I was sweating just watching him do it.
I don't know. I just don't get it. But he's awesome, very informative. There's just so many people out there. I was talking to Last Ketchum. She's got this insane like Funko Pop collection. And I'm like, I wouldn't even know where to start. Like, what would be the first Funko Pop I would get? Like, I have no idea. Like, Captain. Okay, I'd get a Captain America because I love Captain America. But there's probably 50 different Captain Americas. So
Right.
I just don't know. So, but anyway, I just like to thank everybody out there. It's a great community. It really is. And as far as a message, my message is just have fun, man. Do what you do and love what you do. And people who watch my show, I just want them to learn a little bit. It's a no frills kind of show. I don't have an agenda. I just love comic books and I want to talk about them. I want to share them with people. There's some people that probably won't ever get to hold an Amazing Fantasy 15, but I would like the whole world to know what it's like just to get to see that kind of stuff.
Oh, exactly. I mean, it's a part of history.
Yeah,
And especially in our community, it's a big part of it.
absolutely.
It's one of those holy grails.
Yeah,
And it's expensive as hell, but for some people, that's still one of the most obtainable ones. Like you said, you're not going to touch an Action Comics. You're not going to touch a
yeah,
Batman. The DC and the Batman, they go Superman and Batman, they go so far back that
yeah,
it's just they're unobtainable. And if you do obtain them, it's going to be just a crazy ton of money, and it's still going to be a poor grade. You're going to get like a 1.5 or a 2.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
If you're lucky to get that high. But no, great answers.
thank you.
And I just want to. What's that? Oh, thanks. I thought about them a lot. I tried to make them pertain mostly to your channel. And I kept leading you into different themes, and you were kind enough to bite. So, look, honestly, Kenny, thank you so much for coming on the channel. I really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you had a good time.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun, Gary. Thank you.
And we've run for 38 minutes, so not too bad. I think we got to those questions quicker than I thought, and the amount of information you gave us was phenomenal. And guys, if you haven't checked out Capsun Comics, that YouTube channel, you guys really need to head over there. And I think most of the people that are watching have already subbed to you through my video.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully it's a built-in
audience.
audience.
Familiar names.
Right. And but your content's awesome. I had the notifications on for you, just like I have them on for Jerry and and Angelo. And the thing I like about your channels is you guys talk about books I don't know about. So I get to learn something new from there. Like with Jerry's channel, I know nothing about Shazam. But I love seeing those old books he has, those Wiz books. I didn't even know they existed. They're amazing.
Yeah.
And just to see like the way they approach the art and the themes that were on the covers, because the themes on some of those old covers are really just out there when you consider our day and age now,
Yeah, the racism will just smack you right in the face.
And also, just like you had a couple great videos lately. Mike? Hey, there you go. You just got a new subscriber.
Yeah, thank you.
And I believe I have your notifications on, Comicade. I got notified earlier. I just haven't been able to watch your new video yet. I've been busy. But just I love your channels that are different than mine. I got my own thing I'm into. I'm very niche, but you guys offer a whole nother area of expertise in different things. And your back cover videos, I would have people go watch, because I love that you're placing history on those times too, which I think is a great thing to couple with the comics. It just adds more depth to them, and it ties them into our history even more, which is it just widens horizons for what they are. But that's all I got for you. I want to thank you again so much for coming on. I had an absolute blast talking with you,
Yeah, this is awesome, Gary.
and we'll have to collaborate again sometime.
Absolutely, definitely.
So, guys, I'm gonna let him sign off, and then I'll give my sign off. So, Kenny, go ahead and let him know.
Well, thanks everybody for watching. I'm Kenny Caps, and I hope you had a great time. And I'll see you in the next video.
And guys, until next time, keep it casual. This is what we call the awkward end broadcast.